This happened last winter, and I still don't sleep without the lights on. I really thought it was just my bed making noise, until I heard breathing directly under me, not beside me, not somewhere in the room, under my body. And when I finally checked, something moved. If you're listening to this alone right now, just don't look under your bed yet. Seriously, just listen. I live alone in a small apartment. Nothing unusual. Old building, thin walls, creaky floors, the kind of place where you hear everything. Neighbors talking through the walls, pipes clicking at night, footsteps from upstairs that don't match anyone's schedule. So yeah, I'm used to noise. You kind of train yourself to ignore it. That night, I fell asleep around 1 a.m. I remember because my phone was at 9% and I was too lazy to plug it in properly. When I woke up, the room was completely dark. My phone screen lit up just enough to show the time, 3:17 a.m., and something had already woken me up. I didn't move, not right away. I just laid there, staring at the ceiling, listening, because something felt off. Not loud, not obvious, just wrong. Then I heard it, a soft dragging sound, like something shifting slowly under my bed. At first, I told myself not to overreact, because when you live alone, your brain fills in gaps. Every little sound feels bigger at night. So I tried to ignore it. I actually remember thinking, you're just being paranoid. Maybe I dropped something earlier. Maybe it's just the frame settling. Then it happened again. Scratch, drag, scratch. And I felt my chest tighten because I realized something. The sound stopped when I breathed. I didn't even want to test it, but I did. I held my breath. Nothing. Complete silence. Then I slowly inhaled again, and it came back, dragging, adjusting, like something down there was listening to me. I remember just lying there completely still, thinking, no, this isn't real. Be honest, if you noticed that, what would you do? Would you check, or would you just stay completely still? Because I tried to stay still, and that made it worse. I reached for my phone, slowly, the charger cable pulled tight, and even that tiny movement felt too loud. My hands were shaking now, not full panic, but close. Just that instinct telling you, don't do this. I turned on the flashlight and slowly leaned toward the edge of the bed. The floor looked normal, dust, shadows, nothing else. But the darkness under the bed, it didn't feel normal. It felt too deep, like the light wasn't reaching all the way in. Then I heard it again. But this time, it wasn't dragging. It was breathing, slow, uneven, wet. And I swear, this is the part that messed me up the most. It wasn't just breathing. It was trying to match mine. When I inhaled, it inhaled. When I held my breath, it stopped. At that point, I completely froze. Because whatever was under there wasn't just there. It knew I was there.
It was aware of me, and it was close enough that I could feel it through the mattress. For a second, I tried to convince myself I was imagining it. I actually thought, this doesn't make sense. This can't be happening. And then, it moved closer. I don't even know why I did this, but I leaned over the edge, slowly, my hand shaking as I angled the light down. At first, nothing, just darkness. And then, 2 eyes. They didn't blink. They didn't reflect light the way eyes should. They just stared, wide, still, and something about them was wrong. One eye sat slightly lower than the other, like its face wasn't shaped right. I remember just staring back, completely frozen. If you saw that, would you keep looking? Or would you pull back immediately? Because I didn't move, and I should have. The eyes shifted just slightly, and then suddenly, it moved. Fast, way too fast. It slid backward into the darkness like it was never fully there. I jerked back and fell off the bed. The floor was freezing when I hit. I can still remember that. My phone slipped out of my hand, the light spinning everywhere, and for a split second, I saw something. Something long, low, dragging itself deeper under the bed. That's when I lost it. I grabbed my phone and ran. I didn't look back. I didn't stop. I just ran out of the room and slammed the door shut, locked it. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely dial. I called 911, trying to explain something that didn't even sound real to me. There's something in my room, under my bed. I could hear it in my own voice. I sounded insane. They said they'd send someone, but it would take time. So I just sat there in the living room, lights on, back against the wall, staring at the hallway like something was going to come out. I could hear a car passing outside, a TV faintly through the wall. Everything felt normal, too normal. And then I heard it, a knock. I froze instantly. Another knock, slow, deliberate, coming from inside my room, from the bed. 3 knocks, evenly spaced. At that point, I didn't know what to think anymore. What would you do? Would you leave or stay? Because what I did next was the worst decision I could have made. I went back. I don't even have a good reason. Maybe I needed proof? Maybe I just didn't want to feel crazy. I unlocked the door, opened it slowly, and the room looked completely normal. Nothing out of place, no movement, just normal, too normal. I stepped inside. The floor creaked under me, and every sound felt amplified. Every step felt wrong, like something was watching me. I moved closer to the bed, and then I heard breathing again. But this time, it wasn't under the bed. It was behind me, close, right behind my neck. I could feel it, warm, slow. And then something brushed against the back of my shirt, lightly, like it didn't understand how close it was. I turned around so fast I almost lost my balance. There was nothing there. The police showed up a few minutes later. They checked everything, under the bed, closet, windows, every corner of the apartment. No signs of entry, no explanation. I remember just standing there, trying to process everything, when one of them asked me something. If you thought it was under the bed, why did you get off the bed? And that question stuck with me because I didn't have an answer. And then it hit me. I never actually saw it under the bed, not once, because every time I saw it, it was already somewhere else. So now I don't check under my bed anymore. I check behind me. If this got to you, hit, and if you want more stories like this, subscribe. I need you to answer this honestly. Do you think it was ever under the bed, or was it already in the room the whole time? And be honest, are you checking under your bed tonight?